Yeah, Doe One, Rocky Mountain Sports Report, yeah, live and direct. Keep 'em shook, defend like Champ Bailey and Adam Foot, no joking. I'll block it out like Jokic, and now you see him blurry. Lost in the rain of threes from Jamal Murray. Oh, step up to the plate. Colorado landscape outstanding, reporting all the facts in. We out the park like black men, or better yet, Chuck Nasty. Cause RMS thought his family built tough, yeah. Like Ed McCaffrey, if we only got one rule, in my orange and blue, a mile high salute. So while the rest is lacking, I'm on my goals like Sackett. Time to slaughter, be hitting hard like Atwater Gold Club, 300 Club like the John.
I said okay.
Hey everybody, this is David with Rocky Mountain Sports Report here to let you know that Avicor Mobile Power Wash is an industry leader in commercial cleaning services. They specialize in washing commercial vehicles, including but not limited to tractors, trailers, bobcats, front loaders, rear loaders, pickups, and much more. Have an oil stain? Give Avicor a call. Oil spills? Call Avicor. Parking lot, sidewalks, and commercial containers. You know who to call. Avicor. If you need it clean and want the best prices in town, then give Avicor Mobile Power Wash a call at 303-585-1129. Hey, good evening, Bronco fans. It's David and Matt here with Rocky Mountain Sports Report. That's a tongue twister. I don't know how our boy Doe One just spits it out the way he does. If you guys did not hear the intro song, we got a new Rocky Mountain Sports Report anthem. So when you get a chance, when this is over, go check it out. It's just a shortened, condensed version of it right now. We will be releasing a full version video of it probably here in a couple weeks once we get some editing and stuff done like that. So, but hey, let's talk about yesterday's game. Boy, we sat here yesterday morning and we both predicted just a
Slaughter.
A slaughter, destruction, mass destruction, and pleasantly surprised. I mean, yeah, we didn't get the W, but man, we went out there and we played a good, solid football game, with the exception of some few errors that we'll talk about that I think cost us the game. So, but anybody out there, shoot us your comments. Let us know what you thought of the game, what you thought cost us the game, what we got to do to continue to get better. So let's dive right into it, Matt. Give me your take on the game.
I mean, it was, like you said, it was a pleasant surprise. I mean, we remained competitive. Our defense really stepped up. I mean, we see them play their hearts out every week. But to see them play as hard as they did yesterday, with as many injuries as we've had all year, the loss of Bryce Callahan, which was huge in our secondary, for them to, I mean, we didn't have a perfect game, but we flustered Mahomes. The secondary, for the most part, stayed in their zones when we stayed in zone. I'll give AJ Bouye, a big pat on the back. I called him out yesterday, said he needed to step up, and he definitely stepped up. I mean, he had a couple poor, missed tackles, but I mean, Tyreek Hill and some of these, and Hardman and Robinson, they're like little human joysticks like Hamler. So, I mean, I don't blame him for that. We all, people are going to miss once in a while. But coverage-wise, he was solid. Duke Dawson had to step in for Bassie. I was petrified once that happened. Bassie's a rook, but he's been okay. He's been, he's learning the game, undrafted. So, I mean, he's been playing pretty solid recently. When Duke came in, I was nervous. We caught a break with the Tyreek Hill touchdown. Duke Dawson got beat like a. I hate to use this reference, but do you remember when Raheem Moore missed the tip?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I just saw flashes of that. I mean, of course, the circumstances were nowhere near the same. This is just the regular season game, but I was like, damn, this is getting hot, man. And then thankfully, it was taken back. So,
right.
Defense played solid. Offense. Without getting too much into Drew Lock right now, we played a condensed playbook. We stayed tight. We ran the 12 and 13 personnel, which means we had two tight ends on the field. We eliminated the deep route, which I think helped Drew significantly throughout the game. But unfortunately, kind of like what we talked about last week, it's really hard to win with like that conservative play calling, especially against Kansas City. like you said, we both thought it was going to be a massive blowout. Thankfully, it wasn't. Defense kept it competitive and gave us a chance to win.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
one thing me, you, and Alex all talked about yesterday was we needed to be balanced. If we relied too much on the pass, we weren't going to stand a chance of winning this game. We had 33 rushing attempts and 28 passes, so it was a good balance. But I don't think that you can win football games in the NFL scoring 16 points. So we have to figure out some way how to convert some of these field goals into touchdowns, and things like that. Yeah, we got two touchdowns yesterday and a field goal. But in future games and stuff, we need to be better when we get down there, and we need to score touchdowns. And yesterday we did do a good job at that. We had some good plays, and like I said, Locke for the most part played a very smart game. He did make a couple errors. The first one was on the first drive. When he had a little pressure that rolled from his left, he stepped up a little bit, and it probably would have been fine if he would have just stepped up and stopped right there. But then he decided, I'm going to roll out to the left. He threw it, didn't set his feet, threw it, and Honey Badger just picked it off. I think it was it Vanette that was in the route?
I believe so. It was either him or Fumagalli.
Yeah, whoever it was, they didn't really have an opportunity to even go get that ball.
Yeah, the ball hit Matthew on the inside shoulder. Yeah, it was just a toss up for
right.
There we go, grace of God. Let's hope for it.
So, and then the last play of the game, or last offensive play for the Broncos. He throws that ball down there into that sea of red, and just an ill-advised pass right there. And there were just too many defenders around, and you couldn't really tell who that ball was going to. There were two receivers sort of in that area. You had Tim Patrick, and then I think it was Judy that was on the deeper route. So
on the one that you're talking about, he was trying to hit Judy.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick actually was the route he was supposed to hit. He was coming across the middle. Right. So he was about 8 yards deep. Patrick was. Judy was already about past 12, maybe 12, 15 yards down the field. And I think it was Fans who was next to him.
Right. Yeah. And so, for the most part, I think Locke played a good game. And I know a lot of people, and I think you're one of them, say, well, we dummied down, for lack of a better term. We dummied down the playbook, to protect Locke and to take away some of his tendencies to go after the deep ball. And we'll talk about this more. But let's flip over to the defense, because I'm like you. I was impressed. I was scared going into this game. We're missing Callahan. We have two rookies out there. And then we got Bouye, who's just struggled all year. And these guys stepped up and played big. I mean, I would say the worst guy in the secondary yesterday may have been Jackson.
I'm just gonna highlight him. I'm gonna have a whole spotlight for K-Jax.
Yeah, and K-Jax has been solid all year, and he was missing tackles, and it's like he was just missing assignments and everything else. And but I'm happy as a Bronco fan. I'm happy with the progress I saw yesterday. We went into Kansas City, and we held their offense to 22 points. That's given us a chance to win when we can hold an offense like that to 22 points. We just need to learn how now to score more than 16 points. I mean, and I think there's some areas from the coaching that really hurt us in this game. And I know you and I differ our opinions on some of them. And my first one, and here's my mental mistake or death by inches by Fangio that I, in my opinion, is don't kick that 57-yard field goal with 28 seconds left or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's too risky. You're ahead. You have control of the game. You got the momentum. Punt the ball down there. Push them back there. Make them – if they're going to go down to get points, then make them earn it. Make them go down there and drive down 65 yards to get into field goal range. But no, we kick it, we miss it. And I even told my wife before, I said, don't kick it. This is a bad decision. If he misses it, you're giving this offense the ball as short field, and that's giving them easy points, in my opinion. So that's 3 points right now there that I think that we gave up to them. And then and you can give us your philosophy on that. I know you have a different outlook on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as upset with it. I mean, I guess consistency is what I'm upset with, because it's like 1 week you trust McManus, the next week you don't, and then kind of leading to your point. Up until this moment, it seems like he's kind of been not trusting of McManus, and now all of a sudden, it'll probably one of the biggest moments of your season. You got to throw him out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, if this was a different circumstance, maybe this was I was trying to stay alive in the wild card race, I probably would have been a little more upset. I mean, it's 50-50. We're really just trying to piss the Chiefs off at this point. Giving them another loss, pushing them further from the 1 seed. I mean, it doesn't upset me. But then we'll lead to. I think what's going to lead to one of your next coaching blunders is the 4th and 3. I mean, if you're going to be aggressive, then why not just carry out the aggressiveness? Why all of a sudden you become conservative later?
Well, and I think we had another coaching blunder before.
Oh, yeah, wait, okay, yeah. Let's see. How about you? I think I spaced that one. Let's see. Where's that one at?
So we score a touchdown, and it was 12. So we go up 16-12.
Yep, I remember now.
And next thing you know, we're going for 2 points, and I'm like, what are we doing? It's in the 3rd period. Why are we going for 2 points here? It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
it puts you up, what, 18-12, whatever it was. It's like this is making no sense. It's not putting it where they're going to need more than 1 score to beat you. So I don't, and it's not like if we kick 1, they need a field goal to tie us. I'm like just baffled at what we're doing. So now that's 4 points that I have that Fangio cost us. He cost us 3 points at the end of the first quarter. We kicked that extra point. Now it is what? It's 19. We'll say theoretically it would have been 19-17 at the end of the game, instead of 22-16.
Yeah. Speaking of that, it leads to the same thing as we go into the next blunder. If you're going to be aggressive, remain aggressive. But that one does not make sense to me at all either. There was no, I mean, mathematically, it didn't really give you an advantage. Maybe it was to get your guys pumped. I mean, at the same point, they just scored a touchdown. Let's, carry that momentum over. Missing on the 2-point conversion kind of was like a driving force in their momentum.
It's what are you doing? And I want our viewers out there, give us your feedback on this. Let us know what you guys think. I mean, do you guys agree with that 57-yard field goal? Do you agree with us going for 2 points? And now Matt's going to bring up blunder number 3 from Vic Fangio.
Yeah, so the 4th and 3 in the 4th quarter. I mean, this is we're just on there, just on KC side of the field. It's 4th quarter. What do you have to lose? You've already been aggressive with the McManus field goal, Tim. You've been aggressive with this 2-point conversion, and all of a sudden you said, "Oh well, no, I'm good. I'm going to trust my defense."
Right.
You're right there. You get that first down. Had you done exactly what you said, maybe have the 17 points on the board, a field goal gives you the lead. At that point of the game, a field goal gives you the lead at that point of the game.
And his whole thing was, well, I'm just going to go down there and I'm going to rely on my defense. We're going to stop them. Well, Kansas City then takes the ball, drives down, kicks a field goal, and eats up about 5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah. Grueling.
And I remember when Fangio was first hired as the coach here. And one thing he said is, we will not have death by inches around here anymore. This guy is causing death by inches. I don't know how many times a year, but yesterday he had 3 of them, in my opinion. And that's why I'm going to start calling him Vic Death by Inches Fangio. So
yeah, because he's killing us by inches.
And he is. He's killing us because he said that's what Denver's problem was before. They were killing themselves with these mental mistakes and things like that. And now he's doing the same thing as the coach.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that kind of hurt us a little bit is that wasted timeout. We're getting momentum going. We just got a big play, and I don't know if it was an equipment issue. I don't know if Drew just wasn't comprehending what Shermer was telling him. I don't know, but that was a waste of a timeout. That shifted your momentum, and I think that was the one. I think that was the drive that led to a field goal. I don't remember, but we were driving. You were killing it, and then all of a sudden you have to waste this timeout.
Right, and that timeout would have been vital at the end
of the game
when Kansas City had the ball, before they kicked that last field goal, because we could have probably saved another 40 seconds or so.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had to. Locke's already had one of his main issues is he likes to rush everything. We probably could have slowed him down a little bit more, and not saying that would have won us the game, but it would have definitely helped him stay more comfortable. But like you said, we'll get into Locke in a little while. I think that's going to be probably the larger part of our segment tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I want to do something here. I'm trying to find something. But
while you're doing that, I'll do my Kareem Jackson spill.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with Kareem Jackson since starting in the Miami game. It's like all of a sudden he just seems disoriented. He seems like he's blowing coverages, which is really weird for him. We've seen it 3 times yesterday where he's like he's wandering from his zone and like coming close to the flats, which is like I get the easiest way I can explain it is on the field you'll see the hash marks, usually by the numbers. So outside of the numbers is the flats. So that's typically has been his assignments, but for some reason he's either crashing way too far back or crashing too far towards the middle of the field, so then the inside of the numbers, and they're just dropping dimes on us right there. It's like he's waiting for the opportunity to give them enough space so he can come up and pop a guy, which really isn't the way football's played anymore. There's too many rules against, beheading people these days.
Right.
So and then he misses the tackle anyways.
Right.
Like, he just whiffs. And I mean, like, I don't know. There was another one where Mahomes is running outside, and it's like one of the, Mahomes isn't that fast of a guy, but, it's like he just like slides right by him and lets Mahomes get another like 4 yards. It's like all of a sudden he's just forgotten how to wrap up. He's just doing these awful shoulder tackles. I don't know if it's an injury. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. He is my probably my GOAT in the defensive on defense as a whole yesterday. I mean, he just I don't understand what was going on. Like you said, missing tackles, or not wrapping up. It looked like he was missing coverage assignments. So I'm not sure what was really going on. So one other thing I want to highlight before we switch over to this next topic is Shelby Harris. I mean, I think yesterday cost us Shelby Harris. That guy came out after being 4 weeks gone from COVID, and on national TV, that guy just balled out. And I think he earned himself a lot of money yesterday. And I think when people start looking at his film this year and seeing, what a presence he's really been, last year he tried it, was it last year or the year before he tried to hit the free agent market?
Yeah, last year.
And didn't really have any takers. But I think this year we may lose the guy because, it's like you said, we're in salary cap purgatory next year.
Yeah, it's not going to be hard to outbid us for him.
No,
I mean, the defensive tackle market's never really like highly competitive. Similar to like your secondary. So defense gets overlooked position-wise unless you're an edge or like a solid cornerback like Stephon Gilmore, Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard. Top 5 any cornerback or top 5 edge rusher. The pay is outside of the top 5 is kind of just mushed together and it's not very high. But with our current cap situation and we talked about it last week, we're sitting at 25, just under 25 now after the draft picks we have after our exclusive right free agent tenders and our restricted free agent tenders. It's going to drop it by a little more than half. So we'll be at just about 11 mil for cap. That's not even enough to sign That's not enough to sign really any of our like solid free agents. So Justin Simmons, that's going to be out of his range. That's going to be out of Shelby Harris's range, but we'll talk about that more later on.
Right. And I'll make a prediction right now. Shelby Harris will be with the Baltimore Ravens next year.
Derek Wolfe did it this year.
The Baltimore Ravens love our linemen.
Yeah.
It seems like old Bronco linemen, they don't die. They go to Baltimore.
They go to Baltimore and
resurrect their careers.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Derek Wolfe's there right now.
Right. And he may speak of all, he may promote Shelby Harris out there too, because he might be a good fit with that defense. So, all right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to share my screen here really quick because I want to show something here.
You go for it.
All right. Let me see. Can everybody see this right here? I'm not sure if I can zoom in on this or not. Can you read this right here, Matt?
I cannot.
Okay. Anyway, this is a post, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and get back to. Anyway, it's a post from my brother, and he said, question to the Rocky Mountain Sports Report team, why does everyone want to give up on Locke so quickly? I get it. His mechanics need some work, and so does some decision-making, looking off receivers, not throwing in the double and triple coverage. But I think last night we saw that when his feet are set, he can deliver the ball and put it in there accurately. If we go back and look at the GOAT, number 7, his first-year stats, he wasn't vying for that gold jacket. 7 TDs, 14 interceptions, 54.8 QBR through 11 games. Locke has played 14 games so far. He's 16 TDs, 16 interceptions, and a 74.9 QBR. I don't know. I just think that the years of pent-up frustration are causing everyone to want to pull the plug on everything too quickly. And I know you've responded to this, and I'm going to let you go first. I think you and I have differing viewpoints on this. So go ahead and put in your argument here.
Okay. So I'll start off with this. I know we here in Broncos country, we see this argument comparing, Drew Locke's career to John Elway's and even Peyton Manning's. Okay, well, there's a huge difference, guys. Just to start off at the very beginning, both of those guys were looked at to be franchise quarterbacks. They were coming in with the expectation to be franchise quarterbacks. They're first-round quarterbacks. They had minimal flaws coming out. There was no visible flaws in their game. Drew Lock, was looked at. What's going on?
Can I interject something right there?
Go for it.
Okay, good. And let's do this like this. Let's make it sort of a debate back and forth.
You got it.
Because when Drew Lock was coming out, he was projected a first-round guy.
Yeah, I was getting ready to get there.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So
he was.
Guys are franchise guys, so I'll make that argument there.
Okay, so he was looked at to be, in that category. Those first 2 to 3 quarterbacks taken the whole talk of town was who was going to go first. Was it going to be or not? Who was going to be the better quarterback between Daniel Jones and not Kyler Murray? Who am I thinking of? Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock. They were all kind of pushed into that same category.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Locke fell off everyone's draft boards for some reason. Locke just slid off. Like you were hearing, Matt Miller from Bleacher Report. I can't remember the gentleman. Bucky Brooks from NFL Network. They started taking him completely out of their first round mocks, and no one knew why. Same thing happened a few years ago with Paxton Lynch. Same thing. Who was going to be the top quarterback taken? Was it Goff? Was it Wentz? Or was it Lynch? I think that was the same year. It was like the talk of the town. Who was going to be the next quarterback taken? And then all of a sudden, Paxton fell off. Okay, and then Paxton fell off the draft boards, and we took him at 20. Was it 23 or 23 or 25? I can't remember. So we've seen the same thing happen with Locke after he falls to the second round. Using Paxton as my reference, we see that Paxton lacked the mentality. He had the mechanics, he had the fundamentals, but he lacked the mentality and the knowledge. So now we see what's going on with Drew Lock. We see that he lacks it's opposite. He has the physical traits, but he's lacking the mentality but he's lacking the mechanics, most importantly. That's the big thing with him. So I don't think it's not that he grasped it. I think the knowledge concept is there for Locke. I think he understands the playbook. It's more of him not being able to get his mechanics under control and the mentality part under control, because it's hard to read at the line of scrimmage. Okay. It's hard to read. He's missing his reads after the line of scrimmage, and I was going on a rant there.
Yeah. Can I ask you another question now?
Yeah.
Or interject something else. So Daniel Jones, drafted by New York Giants. Last year he struggled big time.
Yep.
Who was his coach?
He had Pat Shurmur.
And who was his quarterback's coach?
Shula.
Who is Drew Lock's OC this year and his quarterback coach?
Oh, it's the same. And I mean,
So,
I get
so
that.
do you think that factors into the equation? Because look at the end of the season when Scangarella took over, and he sort of modified. He sort of modified that offense, and Locke, was 4-1. Was it great at all the times? No, it wasn't. But
No.
he was a rookie, and he went in there and he came out 4-1. And so I'm just wondering, is some of it coaching, in your opinion, or is it all just his mechanics and he can't fix it?
This is where it becomes difficult. So, well, let's use Scangarello first. So last year we seen Scangarello. He broke away from what we traditionally ran here. He broke away from the Shanahan West Coast offense for those few weeks he had with Locke, and we've seen a drastic amount of success with that. The only game he really didn't do too well in was the Kansas City game last year. But aside from that, he looked relatively solid. That's what had all of us so pumped coming into this season.
Okay.
But Skangs broke the number one rule. You drifted from Shanny's offense. Now you're a scapegoat for the bad season. That's what happened.
Okay, so cut right there. Scangarella comes in, deviates from the Shanahan, John Elway model of the West Coast offense. This is what we're going to run around here. And yeah, he ends up gone as a scapegoat. Enter Pat Shurmur, Mike Shula. And then so now you got a rookie quarterback who played well at the end of the season, and it looked like him and his OC might be building a relationship.
Yeah, it looked solid. It really did. I'm not even going to lie there.
So now you bring in a new guy, and then COVID hits. So now you have no OTAs. You have a shortened down, condensed version of training camp, and you have no preseason for Locke to go in and relearn this whole system, this new one. And yeah, a lot of his terminology and things like that. And maybe that's where he's sort of struggling, because everyone says, well, last year he sat into VR and he learned things. And I know he still struggles with that a little bit, but I'm thinking that maybe terminology changes, formation name changes, things like that he didn't have all off season to work on this year. And it's more than just studying a playbook. You got to go out there and you got to do the reps and go through it, to really get that muscle memory and things like that. So what I'm saying is, did bringing in a new OC and a new QB coach hinder Locke's development?
To a point, yeah. I mean, change is always going to be hard for any quarterback to overcome. And you're right, terminology changes. But the one thing that we have to remember that hasn't changed, we're still running the same system. It really was minor tweaks with, like you said, just simple things. Terminology. The playbook is almost identical. The only thing that's a little bit different is Shurmur runs out. He doesn't utilize 2 tight end sets as much, or wasn't. That wasn't his intention. He's seen that we had all these wonderful weapons even after the Sutton injury. But he decided that he was going to do the 3 wide. He was going to try to use the 3 wide receiver set in the beginning, and then he drifted away to 2 tight end set, what we're seeing now. That was really the only major changes. He wanted to utilize 3 receivers. Scangarello and our typical West Coast offense has 2 tight ends or a tight end and a fullback all the time. That's really the main difference. Right. But last year we completely drifted away from that. What we did is we played Locke's college offense. But the one thing that we have to keep in mind is that there was no tape on Locke at that time.
No, and that's a fair argument. That's a fair argument. And yeah, he catches people off guard. But I'm just thinking that I think we have a common denominator here in Pat Shurmur and in Mike Shula. And you had 2 quarterbacks who have struggled under them. Jones seems to be doing better in New York this year under a different coach. He's not lighting up the world. Also a different system. Right. So I'm just thinking that Shurmur's part of the problem here.
I don't think he helps. I don't think I will agree with you there. I don't think the current setup for Drew Lock helps.
Right.
It's not a good system for anyone. This is a good system for Peyton Manning because he has the ability to read the pre snap. He
Right.
knows the reads that he already has to make. This offense is a complicated offense to run pre-line of scrimmage. So referencing back to what you said with the VR. So all Drew Lock did in VR, it wasn't him really learning the playbook. It was literally a step-by-step of identifying where's the pressure coming from pre-snap,
Right.
where's the Mike linebacker pre-snap, and then it hikes the ball after you do your whole hike, and
Right.
then it's literally identifying a hot route. So that's what he was supposed to be perfecting this entire time of VR. I get it. You got to build chemistry. But the flaw that we're seeing transgress still right now is he just blatantly ignores the pre-snap reads. He doesn't identify Mike correctly. He doesn't identify where the pressure is coming from correctly. And he completely misses his hot route over and over and over again. So yesterday, that's when we seen Shurmur we played tight almost the entire game. We eliminated the deep route because Drew has this unbelievable urge that he has to throw it deep, this like over aggressive mentality that he has to throw it deep, and he misses his read.
And do you think some of this is not coaches not working with him? I mean, Shula not sitting with him and saying, "Hey, these are things." I see Drew Lock go to the sideline. And he sits at the end of the bench by himself. There's usually not a coach over there with him talking to him and things. But you see other quarterbacks around the league, after they come off the field, their OC's over there or their quarterback's coach, someone is over there talking to them, looking at the tablet going. And you just don't see that with Lock. And have these guys given up on Lock or are these guys just hurting him and not coaching him up?
No, I don't think they've given up on Drew Lock. I don't think that's the message they're sending at all. I think at the end of the season, it could be trending that way just because of the urge for a veteran. I mean, that's always going to be there depending on where you fall in the draft. That urge could be there for Elway. I don't think they've given up on Lock. Shurmur's up in the box, so he can't really be sitting there with Lock. He's always sat in the box as an offensive coordinator. I mean, it's not uncommon. Yesterday, we did see some guys kind of coming around him and doing it, sitting down with the tablets. But I mean, prior to that, I hate to question that guy's, ethic, but usually he's sitting on the, over there by the trash can by himself with the Gatorade, not even, trying to talk to his receivers like, hey, all right, I missed the throw here. What do I need to do? Where do you need the ball? You see other quarterbacks do that. I just haven't seen Drew do that. Of course, we don't have eyes on the sideline all the time, but it's like every single shot that they show of the guy, he's disengaged and by himself. That's another thing that has me a little bit concerned.
Okay. Hold your thought right there because we got to add, we got to run, and we got more viewers now than we had at the start. So I'm going to play our new anthem for them too because I want to get their feedback on them, what they think. So we're going to play our anthem again really quick and then run an ad, and then we'll be back to finish this conversation.
Yeah. The one. Rocky Mountain Sports Report, yeah, live and direct. Keep them shook, defend like Chambele and Adam Foot, no joking. I'll block it out like Jokic, and now you see him blurry. Lost in the rain of threes from Jamal Murray. Oh, step up to the plate. Colorado landscape outstanding, reporting all the facts in. We out the park like black men, or better yet, Chuck Nasty. Cause RMS all his family built tough, yeah. Like Ed McCaffrey, and we only got one rule. In my orange and blue, a mile high salute. So while the rest is lacking, I'm on my goals like Sackett. Time to slaughter, be hitting hard like Atwater.
Hey everybody, this is David with Rocky Mountain Sports Report here to let you know that AviCore Mobile Power Wash is an industry leader in commercial cleaning services. They specialize in washing commercial vehicles, including but not limited to tractors, trailers, bobcats, front loaders, rear loaders, pickups, and much more. Have an oil stain? Give AviCore a call. Oil spills? Call AviCore. Parking lot, sidewalks, and commercial containers. You know who to call. Avicor. If you need it clean and want the best prices in town, then give Avicor Mobile Power Wash a call at 303-585-1129. All right, everybody. All right, we're back. We'll continue. That song you heard there is from our own Doe One. It's a condensed version of it. We're going to release a video with the whole version of the song. Hopefully, here in a couple weeks, we got to do some editing and things like that. Adam, just thanks for the props, Adam. We really appreciate it. And thanks to you for being a part of the family and helping with the things in the background and things that we do. But that is one thing we want to do here at Rocky Mountain Sports Report is we want to bring the facts to everybody. We're not always going to say the popular thing. We're not going to be fanboys. We're not going to be one of these sites that all we want to do is pump up the Broncos and you can't talk bad about them because we know there's issues with the Broncos and they need to be fixed. So everybody out there, so what's your thoughts? Should Drew Lock get one more year to try to prove it?
All right, I think I'm going to answer that question. Just I'm going to cut to the chase. All right. I do not think Drew Lock deserves another year. I'll be completely transparent. I've seen enough. I think we've seen his ceiling. My best way to describe this, his biggest issues I've mentioned over and over again. The knowledge stuff he can learn. The pre-snap stuff he can learn. Sure, that's over time. But the part that's extremely difficult to fix and correct at this point in someone's career is going to be those fundamentals of mechanics. We have to remember these fundamentals and mechanics are these quarterbacks, these players across the board, all positions. They start learning these mechanics and fundamentals as early as 6 or 7 years old. So Drew Lock's in this position where let's say he started off quarterbacking at 8 years old. That's about roughly 15 years that he's developed his fluidity, his footwork, the way he sees the game, his perspective of the game. Imagine learning how to do a trade for 15 years and then being told you're doing it wrong. You learn it this way.
Right.
It's going to be extremely difficult. And even let's say you're successful at doing it. Sure, but it's never going to feel natural. It's never going to feel fluid. You're going to find yourself relying on those past tendencies. It's extremely difficult. Not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be extremely difficult. And I don't think, it's not fair to say, Lock's just going to fall apart because of mechanics, but it's going to be, the mechanics are going to lead to the mistakes that we seen yesterday. The fundamental part of where his over aggressiveness, it's going to lead to him making more mistakes. As soon as we opened up into 3 wide sets, so 3 receiver sets, we seen interceptions happen. We've seen happy feet. That's where they just pitter-patter in the pocket, never setting. He has the physical trait to be awesome. That arm is a rocket arm. But at this, it's not about the arm strength at this level. It's about putting the ball exactly where it needs to be.
Okay. And I'm going to take the opposite spectrum. And I think Drew Lock should get one more year. Because I think just this year overall is just an anomaly. With everything that's gone on with COVID and everything else, I think it has been sort of something that has hindered his ability to really learn this system. And the thing is, more than likely, we know we're going into John Elway's final year of his contract next year. More than likely, Fangio's going to be back. Shermer's going to be back. I don't want to go down this road of chasing a 12 or 13 year vet again and bringing them in here and shipping Lock off. And I don't think bringing somebody in here and saying, Lock, you sit down and you learn from him going into his 3rd year, that's not going to solve anything. It's probably just going to make him not want to be here at all. So I say if you're giving Fangio and you're giving Shermer and Shula another year, then you give Drew Lock one more year and let him work with them for 2 years. And then at the end, if they cannot work, if it's not working and we don't see that improvement, then the whole thing's gone. Elway's gone, Fangio's gone, Shermer's gone, Shula's gone, and a new GM and coach will come in and they'll probably want to rebuild with their own quarterback. But I just don't think going out and chasing someone like a Stafford or a Ryan, the amount of money that they're going to cost us, and we're already in financial ruins with our salary cap. We don't need to be paying a quarterback that. Let's take advantage of Locke's rookie contract right now, and let's operate under that. So,
yeah. So I'm going to agree with you on that. However, I don't think that, we're hopeful that's not what's going to happen. I'll agree with you there. I really don't want to bring in that 12 or 13, vet. But, a couple of things to keep in mind. Your time is of the essence. Always going to want to go out with a bang. It's his mentality. Risk it. He's a risky guy. He's in the risky business. He's a gambler. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him pursue a veteran like Matthew Stafford or Matt Ryan. I think it's a mistake, but I don't be surprised if we see it happen. So I did say I don't think Drew Lock deserves another year. However, I think we're going to see another year. I do think that. I think the Matt Stafford contract's going to be too much for Elway to be okay with taking. I think Matt Ryan's is definitely way too much. We're looking at like $40 million next year for Matt Ryan.
Right.
Way too much. The only quarterback that I would say I would feel comfortable with Elway pursuing, and this is going to catch me a lot of flack, is Sam Darnold. That's the only quarterback Sam Darnold has his issues. He sees ghosts, but I mean, look at where he's at. It's a crappy environment. The fan base is probably top 5 in hardcore fans.
Right.
So I mean, he was put in a system to fail. He could have changed their scenery, help him, maybe. He's also on a rookie contract. He's on the last year of his rookie contract. But does Sam Darnold give you a better opportunity to win now? If you gave me the choice of who do I want, Drew Lock or Sam Darnold, I'll pick Sam Darnold over every day.
Okay. And that's fair. And maybe that is a potential thing, but just someone like a Stafford or a Ryan, I just don't want to see us going down because that's not a long-term fix. And that's what we need now is we need a long-term fix to this problem that has been going on for a long time. Honestly, our quarterback has been a problem here since John Elway left, with the exception of us getting lucky and bringing Peyton Manning in here.
Yeah, aside from those 2 years with Jake Plummer, that was about the only success we see in between the two.
And if that doesn't happen, we're like the Cleveland Browns almost, Yeah,
we're right behind them.
Right.
In terms of changing quarterbacks and coordinators.
So, and look, everybody said Baker Mayfield is not the man. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. Now look, the Browns are sitting at 9-3. You can't argue with that.
I think a lot of that though is due to Stefanski. Stefanski's he's a very organized coach. Well, he comes in with an expectation, and he's one of the type of guys that you see hold people accountable.
And that's fair. But I can't fault Drew
and his
Lock.
System is quarterback friendly, man.
And I can't fault Drew Lock then if we have some coaches in here that aren't going to be like that and aren't going to hold him, and make him a better player. And I think the coaches are failing him right now, in my opinion.
I think we're failing from top to bottom. Just to circle back, because I know we're not seeing comments today, but I think last week we saw a lot of comments. Yeah, like Matthew Stafford, sure, that'd be great. Matt Ryan, sure, that'd be great. But I just want to point out, if we bring out one of those guys, we'll just use those 2 as a reference. We're going to be saying goodbye to some of our, our veteran players. That could be Von Miller. I know people don't like to hear that. That could be that could be Kareem Jackson. That could be Jarrell Casey and AJ Bouye. We have to find a way to make up for their cap. So, guys, I mean, I'm all for you guys. Like, yeah, that'd be great, but let's think about the long-term implications too. We'd have to say goodbye to some of our fan favorites.
Yeah, these quarterbacks are not going to be cheap. So we might as well do it the old-fashioned way. And one thing I told my brother. And because he's the one who started this conversation with this post today, I said, we live in an instant gratification society now. And people don't have the patience. I mean, I grew up, I remember I was a high school senior when John Elway was drafted, and I watched him struggle. I watched him line up behind right guard because he didn't even know where he was at on the field, I mean, and I saw him make the mistakes. But you know what? We had the patience back then, And now everybody wants instant gratification. They want everything now. And I think it really hurts these younger quarterbacks coming in, and we got to let them develop, because we see some players that they're just, for lack of a better term, they're freaks, and they come in and they're ready to step in and they're ready to play right away. Like a Joe Burrow who came in and he was successful. Trevor Lawrence is probably going to come in and be successful. You got players like this that come in, and now everybody expects every single quarterback that comes in to come in and be successful. And I remember back in the day that first round picks normally didn't even play their first year. They wouldn't start on day one 99% of the time. They would play behind somebody, and then finally the organization say, okay, let's turn it over. It's like Elway. Elway played 11 games his first season. He didn't start all the games, but now on day one, everybody wants him in there, and they want results right now. And unfortunately, that's not how it works with 90% of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, no. So I agree with you there. I one thing that at some point, the NFL did kind of flip. Like, you're right, these draft picks used to sit for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the way the cap implications are, with the amount of money some of these players have to make, they can't afford to sit. And rookie contracts back then used to be heavy.
Right.
So, I mean, they were okay with it. They'd already invested that money into them. Now they see these guys with these really tiny contracts, and they're paying Von Miller $22 million. They're like, all right, well, I got Von for 22 for 4 years. I need this guy to play great, or we're wasting this money.
And I don't have a problem with bringing this guy in and putting him in there and letting him play. But don't expect him to come in there and be a John Elway or a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady from day one. And that's what everyone expects. And we're not going to get that from Drew Lock.
So I'll tie into that a little bit. So I think your argument is completely fair with logic. That's completely fair. But we also have to remember that there's Drew Lock and any quarterback, we could put any rookie quarterback or any young quarterback, whether it could have been Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, whomever, let's put them in the same situation. Unless we've seen that instant gratification, I don't think it would matter, because we have to look at it. We haven't had a winning season since 2015.
I agree.
Yeah. So them as the organization, had this been any other organization outside of the Denver Broncos, John Elway would have been canned in 2017 or 18.
Right.
He would have already been let go. But of course, this is the Broncos. We run things different. We don't have an owner. We're kind of in disarray at the top.
Right.
Well, now, so we have, the last, let's say 5 years on Drew Lock's shoulders to be successful. Now, all of a sudden, Elway's contract's coming up at the end of the next year. So, what typically you look at to be like a 2 to 3 year development, similar to what Baker Mayfield has all of a sudden to maybe been just 2 seasons. That's all he's going to get, a season and a half. That's all he's going to get. And is that fair to Drew Lock? No, but at the same time, it doesn't. There's certain things you see in a quarterback, and you know that they're just not going to grasp it.
Well, and I
feel like that's where we're at. I'm at with Drew Lock right now.
I even think this coaching staff sort of robbed him last year. He got hurt in preseason. He didn't hit the field until week 11. It's like, come on. His injury couldn't have been that bad. It wasn't his throwing hand that he hurt. He landed on his left hand and took the injury to it. So I think the coaching staff last year hurt him, by not letting him get on the field sooner. So now we're going to say, okay, the guy lost 3/4 of his rookie season last year, and now we just want to kick him to the curb and say, well, forget about you, And because this year, like I said earlier, this year just doesn't count. COVID has just screwed everything up, and I just don't think it's fair to penalize Drew Lock and say, sorry, bud, it's just, the way it is. And I that's the way the fans are thinking now. I'm not saying that's the way they're thinking over at Dove Valley, but that's the way the fans are thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think it's fair. I mean, I think Drew Lock is getting the shorter end of the stick. I mean, But let's look at Paxton for example. The dude didn't even get a chance to get on the field, and we called it quits on him before he even got
Well,
more than 3 starts. We could have had that same argument. Like, we didn't even give Paxton a chance. He didn't get on the field, but we were able to recognize that there was significant flaws behind the scenes. That's kind of how I feel with Drew Lock and some of the mentality issues. Unfortunately, we're not in a position where we have like a solid veteran that we could have started.
right. Well, we had one.
It's all Drew Lock. Yeah,
They brought the wrong guy in here. They brought a guy in here who didn't want to teach somebody.
Yeah,
and that's on John Elway.
Yeah, like I said, Drew Lock got put into a position to fail. Had he been in another situation, I honestly, personally, me being the scout guru, I don't want to call myself a guru, but I was about to. I was going to get big headed there. I watched tons of tape all the time. And, in college it looked good, but then even like you start watching tape from last year, just to see, do we see the happy feet even when he was being successful? And unfortunately, we did. We were seeing positive gains and really good, really good plays and, long passes. It was all beautiful, but we still seen the mechanic flaws. It just wasn't caught yet.
So
once these coordinators catch eyes that he's got happy feet, and then all of a sudden, oh, now he's not recognizing pressure unless he has this formation on the field. That's where we're getting eaten alive. And you see him. He doesn't give himself enough time to really read progressions. He's bouncing the whole time. He bounces to one side, then he bounces to the other side, and then he bounces back to the middle, and then he just throws an errant throw.
So he has 4 games. He has 4 games left this year.
Yeah, I think.
Let's say he improves every week to week. Are you willing to give him another year next year then and say, let's see what he can do before we finally decide, what?
Oh, I think he gets another year whether we play like trash or not.
And I'm not even talking about the team playing like trash.
No, even if
he goes out there and he shows that he's improving and he's making progress. I don't expect him to go out next week and complete 35 of 43 passes and have 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. But I'm just talking about these things that you're talking about. If he can show that he's finally, it's clicking of, hey, pressure's coming from here, and things like that. If he starts to improve in things like that, I just don't think it's fair that we just throw him out with the bathwater so quickly.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I don't think he's getting a fair shot in any means. Like I said, I feel like my jury's out on him, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't clean it up, and I could be completely wrong.
Right.
It's just an opinion. I do think he gets next year, and I think that's the smartest move is to give him next year. I think I'm hesitant with saying that because I know I'm thinking with logic. I don't have my Elway hat on. If I put my Elway hat on, I'm tossing Drew Lock in the trash as fast as I can.
Right.
Just because I got a veteran quarterback staring me down like, he's looking at Matthew Stafford like I look at a double cheeseburger, drooling and everything, man. It's an unhealthy habit for him. It's about as unhealthy of a habit for Elway as it is for Drew to throw the long ball. It's just unhealthy.
Right.
So,
but
I don't think he deserves it. I think if you're in a position to take another quarterback in the first round, I think let's say we drop into the top 7, if Zach Wilson's there, I don't think you hesitate. If Sewell from Oregon's off the board, if Surtain from Alabama's off the board, if Parsons, that's even a reach. I wouldn't even say Parsons. If Zach Wilson's there and those 2 guys are already off the board, I don't see how you could pass on Zach Wilson at 7 or 8.
Okay.
I don't think you can. But I think we're going to, because Elway doesn't want to draft and develop a rookie quarterback this late in his career. I think we'll have some whiff on a Rousseau or someone to replace Von Miller.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't think Trask really
late. No, we'll pick him up later in the 2nd or 3rd round. And
I would, if this wasn't Elway's last year, I think we would. But it's not his last. It is his last year, so I don't see us doing that.
I hope it is.
My top the top, well, we hope it is the top three for me would go in that order. I would go with Sewell because you need to solidify right tackle. He's traditionally a left tackle, but
You're right. Yeah.
Dude's a mauler, man. He's one of the best natural offensive linemen. But he can go as early as
did he really play swing tackle? I mean, is he going to feel comfortable over on his right? I mean, and that's something you really need to look at.
It's an easier transition to go from left to right than right to left.
Oh, I agree. It is.
Yeah. So I mean, and growing pains are to be expected, but I mean, potentially you could have solidified your offensive line. I don't think he's going to be there. I think that's a huge reach. He's probably going number 3. That's probably where he's going. But in some miracle world, he falls to 7. You got to pull the trigger there. Like, no joke.
If he's sitting there at 3, then Cincinnati has to take him.
You have to. Oh yeah,
unless they don't want Joe Burrow to ever play again.
Yeah. So yeah, if he makes it to there, if he somehow by some miracle he makes it there,
right?
That's who you got to take. Surtain, we have to solidify the secondary. I hate drafting defensive backs so early. I mean. But do we got to review? Do we got to go back? I'll just use that as a reference. Patrick Surtain was an amazing cornerback.
Right.
Amazing. And his genes definitely, went down the tree to Junior over there.
Yeah, they definitely did, and I think that's somewhere where we can better spend a draft pick is on that secondary. I even think even if we bring Dotson back next year, he's serviceable at right tackle. That way we don't end up reaching, because the guys we want are going to already be gone. And then we don't want to grab somebody, up at 7 or 8 where we're sitting, with somebody who, you could grab later in the first round or second round and give our secondary some help. We've seen our secondary this year and it's bad.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So
I think if using Elway logic, we'll call it that. If we're gonna put our Elway hats back on, speaking of the draft, let's say that Surtain's off the board. Let's say Sewell's off the board. And he's not sold on Zach Wilson because he's not the Elway type of quarterback. I wouldn't hesitate to see him trade back.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
To the mid-20s. And then guess who we're taking there? Just take a wild guess.
Trask.
That's where he'd go.
Yeah.
And that would be
I think
he wouldn't be forced to start in. They would probably start Locke. Let Locke have his opportunity.
And then you foster competition.
Yeah, you put the heat on it. So. But I mean, I think that's a dumb move. It would be a terrible move. But I wouldn't put it past him.
But I wouldn't either. So anyway, so we've been at this about an hour. I'm going to say let's give Drew Lock another year. You're saying he's done, but you think he's going to be back for another year.
I mean, you have the best part of the argument with this. He's on a rookie deal. Unless there's a way you get Sam Darnold, there's no other quarterback that's financially a better fit for the Broncos situation.
Right.
Just depends on how does Elway want to do this. Is Elway looking at it as like, you know what, I've set this team up for years of success in the future, or does he want to win now? What's he leaving the Broncos with? That's what the question comes down to.
I agree. And I could see him trying to finagle something where he can make another run. But I don't think this team is at a position where we're one player away from a championship.
No, we're not a quarterback away.
No.
We have.
And one other thing I'm going to say in Drew Lock's defense is his number one receiver's been out all year with Cortland Sutton. So, and maybe Sutton, helps him out a little bit next year. And some of these 50-50 balls he's throwing up there, maybe 25-75 really is what they are. They're not really 50-50.
Yeah, they're not 50-50. Well, yeah, we've seen him develop
maybe Sutton helps him out, and bails him out a little bit there next year, and we'll see. But I think we give Drew Lock one more year and see what he can do, and then after that, then we say, Elway, you're gone, Fangio and everyone else is gone, and we're rebuilding, and let the new crew pick who they want.
Yeah, so I think that's a solid guess. Well, like I said, it's a wait and see approach. Yeah. I don't like what I've seen from Luck. I don't know if he gets much better. I think I say he deserves another year. I wouldn't give it to him personally, but that's me just being, I guess, for lack of a better term, impatient.
Right.
I'm ready to command success at quarterback.
Well, knock on wood. I'm gonna hope that Drew Lock can show some improvement, and maybe next year it does click in, and he does improve, and maybe we do find a guy who can lead us in the next 10 years or so. And so we can stop this quarterback carousel. But hey, everybody, thank you very much for spending your, what day is it? Monday evening with us.
Yeah, check Monday for the first one in RMSR history.
Yeah, go watch some Monday Night Football. Just let you know, Rocky Mountain Sports Report, we are now on Anchor. We're on Spotify. We're in the process of getting added to iTunes, Google Play, and some other outlets as they're released. We'll let you guys know. We'll post it in the thing, but we'll take the audio portion of these shows and we'll upload them to podcasts. So that way, if you guys just want to listen to us and help us put you to sleep or something at night, you can do that. So, and eventually we'll roll in other podcasts. We will have a Denver Nugget podcast. We'll probably be doing some Avalanche stuff and other things, and we'll be doing a lot more Broncos stuff during the off season. So, but hey, Matt, good talking with you about this whole Drew Lock thing. It's going to be a fun thing to watch over the next 3 to 4 months to see how things shake out down in Dove Valley.
Yeah, one thing I want to just quickly touch off before we head off. So a couple of things. So anytime any of you guys have any kind of questions you want us to cover on the show, and you're watching later on, add it to the group chat, add it to the group board. Send me or Dave a private message, with what your question is. We'll do our best to try to get back to you that day. We'll highlight it on the show if we catch it in time. So always reach out to us. And also, if you guys have any ideas of other things you'd like us to talk about outside of the main four, if there's another sport that you feel that, we would provide some good coverage on, let us know what you guys think would be some good topics to cover outside of the main four. And then, we're going to be doing something a little bit different this Wednesday. We're going to be bringing on a head coach of a Southwest Kids program. They built it from the ground up. His name's Josh Cisneros. It's going to be a pretty good interview. He's going to hop on, give it, on whatever segment we're covering. He's going to provide some insight. Really cool family, done a lot for the community. I think it's, good to give these guys a showcase, some of these local heroes. So, please check in and check them out on Wednesday.
And I think people with kids, that are in youth sports and stuff like that, tune in. If you have friends that that are into youth sports, tune in and hear it from a coach, of the things and how they've built up this program. I can't wait to hear about it. I think it's going to be amazing. But that's this Wednesday, 6:30.
6:30.
6:30. Everybody, make sure that you let everybody know. We will promote it on our website. But hey, thanks, sports fans, for tuning in with us tonight. And we will talk to you guys on Wednesday night. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy some football and have a good night and a good day tomorrow. Thanks, Matt.
We'll see you next time.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.